Hey guys, it's Mr. Whitley, and today's lesson is from May 11th, Monday. And so we're reviewing some of the skills that we hit at the beginning of the school year in foundations. Some of those skills that I really want to make sure that you guys understand and comprehend and can use them for your reading strategies when you get to third grade, which is coming up really, really soon. So if you look up here, we're going to talk about closed syllable exceptions. So we know that when a vowel is blocked off by a consonant, that's generally called a closed syllable. That consonant makes that vowel short. It doesn't say its long sound, so it's not cob, it's cob. So we mark it up so. We have our C down there showing that it is a closed syllable. We give it a breathe above to make sure that the readers know, okay, we're going to make a short vowel sound when we say this. It's almost like this vowel sound is blocked off by a consonant wall. Well, there are some exceptions that break the rule. And when we say the word exception, it's something that does not follow the rule that's put in place. There are 5 of these guys that break the rule as far as making closed syllable sounds. And these are called glued sounds. We've looked at glued sounds and we do them all the time, so we don't always remember the fact that there are also exceptions to the closed syllable rule. So down here I have the 5 exceptions to those closed syllables. They have long vowel sounds in them, even though those vowels are blocked off by a consonant right after them. So as in OLD, in cold, that O makes a long O sound. Now it has a consonant right after it, and it's a one-syllable word, so it should be a short O sound. But it doesn't make that short O sound. It makes a long O sound, O, old. Okay, the same thing with ILD, another glued sound. And generally we box those glued sounds, don't we? Now in this case, ILD, like in wild, has that long I sound, even though that I is blocked off by that L. Wild, wild. Very strange, but it's a good thing to remember when you're reading. When you come across something like OLD, know that you're not going to be making that short O sound, or ILD, you're not going to be making that short I sound. You're going to be making a long I or O sound because it's an exception to the rule. It breaks the rules. It's a glued sound. Same with IND, find. Find has that long I sound, just like I and wild. OLT as in colt, olt. Same thing as OLD. We have that long O sound. OST, post, oast. We hear that long O sound, even though it's a one-syllable word, and it's blocked off by a consonant. It should be making the short O sound, but it doesn't make a long O sound. So those are 5 big exceptions, are glued sounds to remember while we're doing our reading. If you come across these guys, remember, say, even though that vowel is blocked off by a consonant, it's an exception. It doesn't make a short vowel sound, it makes a long one. Okay, I want to do a couple story problems. So if you want to follow along with me at home with a piece of paper, you can do that. If you just want to watch the video and kind of see what I'm doing, that's totally cool as well. So if we have a story problem, so we're talking about pieces of paper. So if we say, all right, Brielle has 2 pieces of paper, and she wants to split them into halves. Remember, when we're talking about halves, we're talking about 2 different parts. If we have 1/2, that means you're using one of the 2 parts. Well, these are supposed to be squares. I know they're not perfect, but I'll do my best. So Brielle we're going to try and take your paper and to split it into 2 parts in 2 or more different ways. Well, actually, if you're doing fractions with squares, there's a ton of ways that you can split a square into halves. One way is this. You can go right down the middle. My favorite way is this. You go that way. The cool thing is if you fold it over, it's going to match up. If it matches up, if you take that paper and fold it up, it'll be even. There's also another way. You can do it like this. You can fold it like that. And if you fold it down, it'll still be the same way. If I take this and I flip it and fold it like that, that is still halves. There's still 2 parts. You can cut it into equal parts, and the equal parts they'll be the same. You can put them on top of each other and they'll be the same size. All right, so Jeremiah is doing a painting, and he has a what are they called? He's painting on something. I can't remember what they're called. Mrs. Whitley uses them all the time. Anyway, he wants to divide this rectangle up into thirds. Well, there's a few ways he can do that. Let's see if we can come up with 2 or more ways to split this up into thirds. Remember, thirds means we have 3 equal pieces. If we're using one of the thirds, it would be 1/3, so 1 out of 3. So one way we can do it is take 2 lines to make 3 equal parts. Or we can go this way. Sorry, my pictures slash lines aren't very even, but you get the idea. We have 3 equal parts. They'd probably be more equal if my picture looked a little more even, but that's okay. But 3 equal parts. So when you're dealing with shapes, oftentimes there are more than one way to make equal parts. So I want you to try it at home. If you have your paper, you can fold your paper in different ways. See how many ways you can fold it in half. See how many ways you can fold it in thirds. There's even a lot of ways if you have a square that you can fold it into 4. So 4 equal ways, okay? All right, so we are gonna finish the digestive system today. We're gonna talk about some pretty interesting stuff. So we're talking about if we have issues with our stomach or our digestive system, call the experts. It can be hard to figure out what's causing a digestive problem. Your body will fix problems such as gas or a mild infection on its own. That's the amazing thing about our bodies. They can fix themselves a lot of times. More serious problems require advice from a doctor. If your doctor is unsure what is wrong, he or she might send you to a gastroenterologist. That's a doctor who is an expert on the digestive system. So gastro means stomach and intro means intestine. So this is crazy. The first stomach surgeon, remember surgeon, someone who does surgery, cuts open and fixes things inside the body. Years ago, doctors didn't understand the digestive system. They had no way of seeing inside the body. And this started to change in 1822. So just under 200 years ago. A fur trapper named Alexis St. Martin accidentally shot himself in the stomach. Ugh, ouch. The wound healed, but a fist-sized hole through his skin and into his stomach remained. Surgeon William Beaumont used the hole to study the digestive system. He would tie a string to a piece of food and push the food into the hole. Then he pulled it out at different times to figure out the steps in the digestive process. Beaumont also discovered that the stomach acid broke down food on its own. Ugh, that's pretty gross. Today, doctors can look inside your digestive tract without cutting you open. They insert a special tube with a light and a camera at the end of your body. The end of the tube also has a tiny device that can take a sample of your tissue so that the doctor can study it in lab. So I talked to you about how I have what's called acid reflux or GERD. So when they first figured out that I had this, they put me to sleep, and they took this camera that goes down my mouth and down my esophagus into my stomach, and it can also take measurements. So they took pictures of the inside of my stomach to see if I had any damage to my stomach, and they also took little tissue samples of it. I didn't feel anything. I was out, asleep. So yeah, interesting, very interesting. And looking at the pictures of my own stomach was pretty crazy. So fit for life. If a meal is late, your stomach might growl. It's contracting and releasing juices ready for your food. So when your stomach's growling, it means, hey, your stomach's getting ready to eat. How do you keep your digestive tract in top shape? Well, eat well, drink water when you're thirsty, and get regular exercise. That's really important. If you do these things, the good things will get you into your system, and the unwanted waste will move out quickly. You'll feel well. You'll have all the energy you need. So eating good foods that we talked about in our first book, drinking lots of water, and exercising. Pretty simple. Put in only the best. Fiber helps keeps your intestines healthy. Fiber is the material in plant cells that helps them hold their shape. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains such as cereals and breads are full of fiber. Your body doesn't absorb fiber. Instead, it uses the fiber to help push material through the intestines quickly. Water is also important for keeping things moving in your intestines and can help you avoid hard feces, which leads to constipation. Not a pleasant experience. Water also helps the body absorb vitamins and minerals. Too much fat in your food can slow your digestion, so eating too much junk food can actually make it harder for you to digest. So it takes different amounts of time for the stomach to digest different types of foods. Eating food in the order of digestion can help the digestive process. That way, the slowly digested foods will not hold up any other foods. So it takes 20 to 30 minutes to digest water or juice, 30 to 45 minutes to digest fruits, vegetable soups, 2 to 3 hours to digest beans, grains, and nuts, 2 to 5 hours to digest milk and cheeses, and 3 or more hours for most meats. That's pretty crazy. So it takes a pretty long time to digest the meat stuff. Keep on track. Exercise is important for keeping your digestive tract on track. Moving your body helps food move through your intestines. Don't do vigorous exercises right after eating, though. So, don't go do 100 jumping jacks right after you ate a big meal. Wait half an hour after a snack or up to 3 hours after a heavy meal. If you look after your digestive tract, it'll look after you. Put healthy food in, and your body will convert it into a healthy body and plenty of energy. So it says vigorous exercise after a meal can cause muscle weakness. However, gentle walking can help digestion. So we actually try and take a walk after dinner to help digest and also to wear out Mando and the boys. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this. I had a ton of really cool information. If we were at school, we'd be doing obviously a notice and wonder, probably focusing more on the noticing things that we observed in the book about how the digestive tract works, maybe how long it takes to digest certain things. Until I read this book a few years ago, I didn't know it took up to 5 hours for meat to digest. I had heard the story about the man who had a hole in his stomach. But it's pretty fascinating how they use that to help us understand how our body digests and our stomach acids break down food. So some pretty amazing things. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you tomorrow on Tuesday. All right? Have a great day. See you guys.